Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Yesterday I pruned up one of the Ficus Sisters, Ficus plain. These two trees started out almost identical, and I grew one with all these aerial roots and multi-trunks growing up, and the other I grew as plain with a simple trunk, no aerial roots. This one's called Fancy because it has all these fancy aerial roots and branch structure. So today I'm going to prune it up. Now this tree looks probably the worst it'll look all year. It just came in from the plant room where it overwintered and it got a little sunburned. It's quite sparse looking, but it's a good time to prune the tree up because you can see the structure quite clearly. So today I'm going to prune it up. Here is a look at the tree. So you can see all those aerial roots that have formed around the trunk. This isn't a fusion ficus, it's just one tree. And all these roots were aerial roots that grew off and thickened up, and yeah, it's kind of a bit of an unusual style for a ficus, but more of a natural style, I would say. So my goal for this tree is to get a nice rounded canopy on it, get some branch structure in it, and just slowly improve it over the years, making it better and better. Here's a close-up of the trunk. So all these roots that spread around were aerial roots that have thickened up. And it keeps growing more aerial roots, and some of them I prune away, some I keep. I always look for the direction. If they're kind of going not a very good direction, I prune them away, only keeping the ones that have future value for the tree and the root base. Yeah, so I'm going to begin pruning the upper structure now. Before I begin pruning, I'm stepping back having a look at it, and I always kind of put my hand over the top, kind of imagining the curve of the canopy. And I think I want it fairly rounded. Not so much of an umbrella canopy, but more of a rounded canopy. I think that'll look better with this kind of upright structure. In the past, when I've been pruning this tree, I've taken the blue scissors and sheared it to a rounded canopy. It kind of, it's quite ruthless, but it's very effective in getting your overall shape correct, and then I go in and do the detailed pruning with what's left. And I'm wondering if I should do that or if I should just come in with the scissors and selectively prune. It's a tough decision. The blue scissors are quite ruthless, but it certainly gets the shape looking good, and then it's a matter of, you know, selecting your branches then and yeah, kind of refining what's left. So I'm wondering if I should do that. It certainly wouldn't hurt. A lot of this growth is winter growth. It's kind of long and whippy, and it might be a good place to start by shearing it to the shape. So I think I'll do that. I think that's a good starting point to pruning the canopy. So it is blue scissors time. So my first step, I'll make sure the scissors are clean and sharp, so I'll spray them with the soap and water and get any sap off them. So I'll just use my cloth and kind of clean them. Make sure the blades are nice and clean. They often get that sticky ficus sap on them and kind of gums them up a bit. And these are just regular scissors, and they're good because they're long and you can get a fairly accurate profile to your tree. So I'm just cleaning the cutting edges. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, I think it's time. So I'm going to be looking at the front of the tree, and you'll be kind of looking in at an angle. So I'm going to start with the front view and prune away, and I'm just holding my hand to kind of see the shape I want. And this tree, it's just starting to put out new growth since it's been outside. So it's a good time to prune it. before it fills in, so it's so dense you can't see the branch structure. So here I go. And I'll start kind of a bit wide and then kind of refine it as I go. And you have to rotate the tree around so you're pruning all dimensions, not just the front view. So there's the progress so far. It's looking better. And these microcarpa, you can prune them back to bare branches and they generally backbud and survive quite well. So I'm checking it from all views. And sometimes you cut through some fairly thick branches. Yeah, it's looking quite good from all views now, so I think that's where I'll stop with the blue scissors. Maybe a little more here. A bit more here. Kind of rounding it out a bit. Yeah, I think that's got the overall canopy shape pruned up. So let's have a look at the tree now. Here's a look at what I took off in round one of the pruning. So just mainly whippy branch tips. So let's look at the tree from the front. I'm standing back looking at the tree now, so I think that looks much better. I like the shape of it. Yeah, that's a good starting point. So now I can go in and look at the individual branches and just decide what needs further pruning. And I think there'll be some. There's a few kind of awkward looking branches down lower that may have to be removed. So let's have a look at that area. I've been looking at all these trunk lines, and there's a lot that are kind of not ideal. And I'm thinking, well, if I start pruning away, the trouble is that all these upright branches form the canopy, and I'll start getting, big holes in the canopy if I prune some of them away. And I'm wondering, if I do too much pruning, I may lose some of the natural look of the tree. it may become too orderly, and ficus generally don't grow like that. So I'm just kind of studying the tree and thinking what needs pruning away. You know, there's some branches that are quite straight in sections, but as they become older, they'll look better and better. So I'm reluctant to do much pruning on it. It's yeah, it's kind of an unusual style, but that's the style I'm going with. It's kind of that multi-trunk style. And I think, you know, maybe I'm better to wait until it pushes out the new growth, and then on those branches start selecting which ones I keep, rather than pruning away now. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave the tree the way it is. I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy with its imperfections, and I think it just, you know, should look better and better as it matures and grows and gets more ramification and more age to it. Yeah, so I think my next step is I'm going to clean up some of these aerial roots. I'll start underneath the tree, or underneath the pot. I have an aerial root growing out the bottom that I want to snip off wherever it comes from. Here's the root here, so it's coming out of this drainage hole. So that's pruned away. If you don't prune those off, they'll thicken up and clog up your drainage holes. And then any of these aerial roots overhanging the edge of the pot, I'll prune away. There's no point keeping those. They tend to just circle around the edge of the pot. Here's one coming up out of the soil. Put that away. There's one overhanging here. And there's a few sticking up here I can prune away. And then I've got to look at all these new aerial roots that formed and decide if I want to keep any of those. So I have one coming from way up high. It's pretty brittle. I don't think I need that one. I'm going to take it away. Any that are kind of clinging to the trunk line are quite good to keep. I'm going to prune this one away. And this one. This one's coming out in midair. I'll get rid of that one. This one too. It'll grow more aerial roots, so I'm being quite selective. I don't want this one growing between these two branches. Get to it. There. I think these ones are okay. This one's in midair. I'll get rid of it. Come around here. This one, if it survives, is fine. This one is kind of crossing this other root. I'll get rid of that one. That one's fine. This one maybe. That one maybe. There's a lot that are kind of crisscrossing here, and I've got to think, you know, if these thicken up, which they will, do I want all these crisscrossing roots? Even this one is kind of crossing the main root system. That one's kind of fused in, so I'm probably too late to remove it. If I did remove it, I'd have a big groove in this section of the trunk or the aerial roots, so I'll leave that one. There's one down here I can prune away. One sticking up here. I think, oh, that one's dead. And then out the back, I've got some coming from fairly high up here. I think I'll prune those away too. That one's already kind of fusing with the trunk there. This one's too high. Get rid of these ones on the inside here. This one sticking up. Some of these ones down here are okay. Just get rid of this one, which I think is dead anyway. And I'll keep these ones, but the ones out in midair I'll get rid of. This one can go. Just keeping my flowing roots, ones that look good. There. Oops. This one's kind of growing across the root here. I'll get rid of it. There's one here I can prune away. This one can go. There's one sticking up here. I'm not sure about this one. It's going to thicken up. It's in the soil already and it's a crisscrossing root. I think I'll get rid of it. I think it'll be a future problem. The rest aren't too bad. There's one sticking up in here I can get rid of. Maybe this one. Yeah. That one can go. Root hairs here I'll get rid of. Yeah, I think that's got most of the problem areas sorted out with the aerial roots. Sticking up there. Okay, that's good, I think. So my next step, I didn't notice any scale insects on the tree, but I will spray it anyway, just to make sure there's none on it. Okay, here I go with the soap and water, so we'll start underneath. And I'll come from above. Make sure the trunk is sprayed, the surface of the soil, the pot, everything. And I think that's good. So I'll let that sit for a few minutes and then I'll give it a thorough rinsing. Okay, it's time to rinse the tree off now. I'll rinse the soil out, give it a good thorough watering. Got a nice sunny day for it. It's nice and warm. It should recover quite quickly from the pruning. Okay, that will do it. It is rinsed off. Here is a look at the tree now. And every time this tree is unpruned, I always think, am I doing the right thing with all these multi-trunks? It looks kind of a bit strange. But then after I prune it up, I think, yeah, I'm liking the styling of it. I like all those multi-trunks going up, and yeah, I'm really liking it. So I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the front, coming around to the right-hand side, the back, the left-hand side, and back to the front. So right now the trunk is kind of dark in some areas, and that's just because it was overwintered indoors. Once the sun kind of hits the bark, it'll kind of bleach it and get rid of all those algae stains. There's a bit of moss at the root base that I can clean up, but I'm not going to do it yet because generally that moss kind of generates more finer roots coming off of the root system, which I may be able to use. Yeah, so that's the tree. I'm quite happy with it. It doesn't need repotting. It drained really, really well. The pot it's in, it's a Japanese pot, just a production pot. It's nothing really special, and I'm not sure if it's the ideal pot for the tree. I think one of those older Chinese pots would look better. So next time I repot it, it may get a better pot. We will see. But for now, I think that pot isn't too bad. It looks quite nice. It's not a bad color and everything. Profile pruning, like I did today, is one tool you can use to shape your trees. But it does require you to go in and do a lot of branch selection. And I've been doing that. I've been doing both profile pruning and selecting interior branches. So yeah, it's just one technique. You can't just create a beautiful tree just by profile pruning all the time. You'll just get all these fine branches surrounding the canopy and nothing back in the shade of the tree. So yeah, you really have to keep up on the pruning, keeping your structure looking good. But profile pruning certainly is effective when it's used at the right times and combined with detailed branch work. When I first bought this tree, it was in a pot this size. And that's part of the problem, is that the trees grow larger, and when you get big canopies on them, they take up more and more space indoors. And yeah, so a lot of my ficus, I try and keep them small, just so they don't take up so much space. But this one, I'm quite happy to grow as a larger bonsai. I think it's a good size. It may even get larger in the future, but I'll try and kind of keep it about this size and just keep refining it. And yeah, so that's why I run out of space in the plant room, is every year the canopies get a little larger and you have to space your trees out more. If it was this size still, I could fit lots of ficus in the plant room, but when they get kind of to this medium size, they start taking up a lot of room. I'm always very excited when the trees can come out here in the greenhouse and then eventually outside on the benches for the summer. Winter is tough. It's a long winter, and it's hard to keep the trees looking really healthy, especially in my crowded plant room. So this year I'm going to thin out the collection of the tropical trees and just kind of concentrate on my better trees, my more developed trees, and I've got to get rid of some of my starter trees. I'll try and keep all the varieties I have, but I'm definitely going to scale the collection down so my plant room is less crowded. I can see the trees better, I can spray them for insects, I can water them better. Yeah, it's just too crowded and my trees suffer over the winter because of that. So that's one of the reasons I just have to scale down my tropical collection. So yeah, but I am very excited to grow this tree and all my other ficus over the summer, because this is when it's looking its worst when it comes outside from the indoor plant room. They always look really bad, and then they get sunburned and there's not much growth, and so it should improve quite a bit. Hopefully next time you see this tree, it'll just be really dense with foliage and looking much, much better. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.